集落の名もない幼い少年の誰も知らないおとぎ話
Welcome everybody to the top 10 best R-rated anime that you probably don't expect on this list. My name is Misty /Chronexia, and more adults, like myself, start to get into anime. Anime which is normally associated to children's cartoons, at least from my parents' perspective, maybe yours too. But deep down we all know there's way more to it than that, which is the reason why I went ahead and dig some unusual R-rated anime. I mean, everyone knows about a classic like Cowboy Bebop, Berserk, Elfen Lied, but you really want to rewatch those or you want to find some new blood on your plate? Literally. I mean, I don't expect to bamboozle you if you know more than 20 anime titles. Odds are you might still know about a few on the list. But I think there's definitely a bunch you haven't tried, so let's give it a look. Number 10. Zetman. Zetman is not your run-of-the-mill anime. It's very dark, as will be fairly every entry today, but nonetheless it does bear a captivating premise. Considering the popularity of One Punch Man, My Hero Academia, and Tiger and Bunny, the hype about superheroes is always pumping, so you'd expect a show like Zetman to be getting really high praises. Yet those praises aren't really around. I think it's a matter of anime versus manga adaptation. Anyway, the story is about Zet, some kind of vigilante superhuman who has a nemesis, Alphas, who's a young man with a strong sense of justice and technology. Think Daredevil versus Iron Man, but crank up the gore by 1,000. If you go in without much expectation, you'll come out with a great time.
床がどん底まで抜け落ちたんぞ。この時を待ってたぜ。わざわざ上海まで出向く価値があるのか。この企画が。
皆さん、このお魚甘い。
しかも同行カメラマンがお前なんて。
Number 9. Kanaan. Kanaan is high-octane, high-paced type of anime. If you enjoy Black Lagoon, Yorumingan, or Darken and Black, then you immediately know what type of anime you're in for. Kanaan's story is about Maria, a Japanese photographer / journalist who's looking for juicy stories. During a festival, she gets caught in a crossfire and a mysterious girl rescues her. Turns out that girl is Kanaan, one of Maria's old friends. Slowly, they start to reconnect while they run away from the imminent threat. That's pretty much all I can tell you without diving into spoilers, but you can take my word for it if you enjoy a lot of action. This is a show that will hold you on the edge of your seat as one of the best R-rated titles out there.
こっちのセリフだよ。ずっと会いたかったのに連絡くれなくて。伏せて。また悪い人たちと戦っているの？やっちゃいないよとかなるわけね。それはともかくこの場合は。とまあ次の関節詞にかかるわけ。
Number 8. Tokyo Majin. Another great title that comes to mind when I talk about heavy violence and profanity. It's a jam I found by mistake while searching for Tokyo Mew Mew stuff. Shut up, I like that show, it had catchy music. Back to Tokyo Majin, the premise sucked me in from the get-go. You have 5 dysfunctional teens who are bestowed special abilities and now has to protect their school along with the city from evil demon and dark forces. You have the brawler, the sword user, the archer girl, and so forth. I mean, I probably give it more credits than it deserves, because I went in with no expectation and my past teenage self had a blast. It was like watching Winx Club. Yeah, I don't have any excuse for that one.
精霊でもあるが、死体や霊をも食す鬼だとも言われている。餌にされたってわけか。今日一の知り合いも、その芳名校の女生徒も。
チャド警部にはよろしくと伝えとくれ。
まだ死んでなかったって言っとく。
Number 7. Gangsta. Before Mangla, the studio that brought you Samurai Champloo, Hayate the Combat Butler, Ergo Proxy, and The World God Only Knows, just to name a few, well, before they went bankrupt, back in 2015, they made a final anime called Gangsta. It was honestly a great show about 2 mercenaries for hire who stumble upon a whore they have to execute. Instead, they decide to hire her as a sex slave, secretary, I mean. Yeah, sorry, they're often the same thing, so I got it confused. No offense to real secretary, I'm sure your boss really appreciates your filing talent. Anyway, what I appreciated the most about this anime was the fact that they made one of the mercenaries deaf. Seeing him kick ass despite his handicap is incredibly satisfying.
君の声
ごめんなさい。これ汚しちゃって。
ずっこいぜニック抜け駆けしやがって
Number 6, Karas. Karas is probably not an anime a lot of people have heard about. It's 6 episodes who came out as OVA. First off, I gotta put up the usual disclaimer when it comes to that. There's 3D in this series. Personally, I think it's masterfully blended, but if it's a detriment to your overall enjoyment, don't bother. This anime is a sci-fi fantasy mix about a world where demons and humans overlap each other. You have someone in metal upholding the balance until one day he goes, fuck it, this job doesn't pay enough and people don't appreciate my work, so I'm gonna find a new job more rewarding. And that's how he became a secretary. Sorry, I kinda lost track. Well, check it out to see if it's something you'd like.
You say, Karas.
人の所持した俺の新しい相棒になるかもしれないんだしかしひどいなこんばんは
Number 5, Mardock Scramble. Hey, personal story time. I saw this movie one day, found it fucking amazing. The visuals sucked me in, the plot was raunchy, it was high-paced, everything I love about an adult story. But then, oh to my dismay, I had forgotten about the title of said anime. That was back in 2015. Then this week, as I was sorting through a bunch of my files, I found it again, so I wanted to talk about it some more. Mardock Scramble is a trilogy of movies, all of which are over an hour long, so essentially it's like 10 normal episodes of time investment. The story is about a 15-year-old prostitute who gets hired for, well, you know what they do. And then they try to kill her. That's all I'm willing to say. If there's anything I must highly recommend on today's list, it's this anime. Please give it a try.
男に変身すると思ってるのか不可能だ
知ってる。あなたは優しいネズミ。あなたも私を狂ってるって思うの？
いや俺をペットがな
Number 4, Zettai Karen Children, The Unlimited. This anime is very interesting. For starters, it's like a R-rated version of a similar show called Zettai Karen Children. Not the same thing. The latter is an action comedy shonen with bubbly girls. Think Powerpuff Girls, but psychic Asper instead of mini superheroes. Anyway, back to The Unlimited. The story takes it in a whole other stride. The plot is about Kyosuke, a really talented Asper who was betrayed and is now a fugitive. He decides to rescue other Aspers from the clutch of evil humans, and he built himself a group out of the people he saved. It's like Jesus, but he can do mind stuff instead. No, never mind, it's exactly like Jesus.
ごめん、さっきのシチュー毒入りだったみたい。な、言ったろ。まだここには大事な用があるのさ。
幾玉、たる玉。
Number 3, Blood Plus or Blood Sea. For this one, I gotta say I kinda hesitated between Blood Plus and Blood Sea, both of which you can watch before the other. They're not really related, besides being held in the same universe, but considering Blood Sea had the worst reputation out of the two, I'm focusing mostly on the former. If you're looking for a short, incredibly gore anime, go for Blood Sea. Seriously, it puts to shame Higurashi and Corpse Party on the gore front. But back to Blood Plus, this anime is about Saya, a girl who with a mundane as fuck life. A creature attacks her and she managed to fend him off. I don't really give it justice, but hopefully the clips do so. Give it a try if you like anime that makes you uneasy. It's wonderful at it.
この呪われた体を清めるには気配が鞘の縛り
Number 2, Claymore. I could go into an extensive resume about why Claymore is amazing as one of the best medieval anime out there, where female knights, who are half humans, half monsters, are produced with the sole purpose of extermination of other monsters. One of those knights, Claire, rescue a boy, and together they start traveling in the hopes of finding other people like Claire. I could tell you all that, or I could tell you it's the female version of Berserk, to a T. They're nearly identical. Same setup, same general concept of knights bloodily destroying monsters, and in both cases, the manga are in league of their own. You should pick up either of them, but at least Claymore is complete. Maybe that's a better incentive for you.
大丈夫なの？ごめん、俺のせいで。勘違いするな。
あなたはママの古い友達。でもあなたもママに会うことはできないの。
Number 1, Gungrave. Alright, cards on the table. I'm appalled by the fact it took me over 3 years to finally get around to talk about Gungrave. This anime is amazing, and now's the best time to discover it if you never heard of the show before. Gungrave is a story about two meaningless guys, Brandon and Harry, both of which are so good friends they're almost brothers. They do petty crimes, local bar fights, thievery, they're your low-life scoundrels. One day the mafia syndicate recruits them, Harry wants to raise the ranks, but Brandon just cares about helping his friend and rescuing the girl he loves. There is so much to this anime that, again, I feel bad for not having mentioned it sooner. I highly recommend this one. It's the perfect R-rated show. And finally, number 0, Rainbow Nisha Rokubu no Shichinen. Screw it, I'm feeling giddy today. Haven't done rank 0 since 2 years, but whatever. I thought about adding this one after the whole list was scripted, and I can't be fucked to delete any other entry at this point. Don't worry, it'll be worth your time. So Rainbow, despite its title, is actually anything but colorful, bright, and vivid. It's a story about 7 prison convicts who are stuck in jail during the Japan's mid-50s era. The plot revolves around those youngins and their life inside the walls, how they're forced to bend over for the ones in charge. Pun intended. It's an anime I find not a lot of people actually talk about despite how good it is. If you want something fresh that's definitely an anime to consider in your R-rated list, this is the one you should go. That's all, folks! Man, I wish I had a Looney Tune outro type of music. All I have is this custom-made in-rest theme for my channel. Bah, it'll have to do. I really appreciate you sticking till the end with me. If I got lucky, I found you some cool anime to check out, and I hope you'll tune in next week for the next list I'll have in store for you. It's almost ready to go too. If you'd like to find rarer shows, you can always check out my other top 10s. The playlist I have will definitely find you something interesting to build your to-watch library. Until then, have a great day, and I'll see you guys again next time. Love ya!
I've been through the hard times, I've been on the wrong side, I've been ashamed. So many memories, you know I'd like to change.